And that she'd been immediately healed. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. When you think about that word daughter, what does that mean to you? Is it something that encourages you? From a man, I want to say that. This is Jesus talking, this man talking, he calls her daughter. I don't know about you and how your relationships were with your father or anyone in your life that could call you their daughter. But, when you hear the word daughter, is it encouraging? Is it uplifting? Is it something like you think of like your hero? Or is it more of like abandonment or hurt or distressed or unloved? That he says daughter. A man is telling this woman daughter. Who knows where her father's been? Who knows if even her father abandoned her because of her situation? But yet, she was, could you imagine in that place? Like, what? And he says, your faith has made you well. When you think about your faith, you think about trust and honesty and things that you can truly hope in. And she had that, even though she didn't know. And he says to go in peace. When you think of peace, rest, relaxation, serenity, you think of a time when you can actually clear your mind, close your eyes, not to be worried about anything. As a mom, it's like, peace, what's on? Like, take 5 minutes in the bathroom, like, where are you? Or coming in, hey! Yeah, especially when it's that time of the month, it's not fun. Why are you bleeding? You never had this? Just close the door. Right? Just wait. Just wait. So, there's this peace that he gave her. He just said, you had this faith. You touched the dirtiest part of my garment on the floor, trying to hide. Then you had enough courage to stand up in front of these people and say, yeah, it was me that needs you. Yeah, it was me that needs you. And then in turn, he calls him his daughter. Who knows what that meant to her? He says, you have faith, and now you have peace. And that's pretty amazing. And so, in it all, it was like a but God moment. And those are my favorite. When I was reading this, I was meditating on it, and it showed me 2 different things. One is that we can believe for a while. Spiritually, we can believe. It can be hurtful. It can be painful. We don't know what's going on. We're fatigued. We're tired. We're frustrated. Everyone is in our way. We're crowded. and trials are guaranteed. When you're bleeding and you're in pain, at least you got medicine. If you don't take that medicine, you could be in a lot of pain. You can have hurt and frustration, like I said, and just be like wondering, like, when is this going to end? How many days is it going to be this week? This month? So, but people get in our way too. I mean, you're in that time of the month. My husband knows. He's like, oh, I can tell. Okay, that's a chocolate. That's a coffee. It just everything frustrates us. Everything irritates us. And so when in our spiritual life, that can be the same case. You could just be bleeding sometimes. But this is a small, teeny, tiny bottom touch of Jesus that you're able to get that can take all that blood away, take all that bleeding away. And then it's just one shift, one change, one small twist of the situation by one touch of Jesus. When you're there and you're kind of in your room and it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? I feel like I'm just going to explode. And it's just like, Jesus, I need you. And it's like that. It can change the whole atmosphere, the whole situation. We have to be deliberate, though. What it says right here is that she deliberately touched him. This wasn't like on accident. This wasn't like, well, let me see if this will really work. It was like deliberate. Like she was like, this is who I've been everywhere, done everything. I've talked to guys. I've done the drugs. I've done the alcohol. I've spent the money. I have nothing left to do. And now this is my last resort. And I need Jesus. And it's deliberate, on purpose, on time, consciously, willfully, being like, okay, God, here I am. And then my other part that I really was able to see in that is that sometimes we're not bleeding, but God is actually getting ready to birth something, where it's a longer process, and it's sometimes a lot more painful, and it's a lot more hurt. But it's crazy because when you're bleeding, it's like, when it's done and over, it's like good. Like, I don't want that. God, I'm not doing it next month. Okay. But when you birth something and God is preparing something for you, it's like a miracle comes out of you, right? Right? It's like, wow, I'm going to hold on to this forever. This is mine forever when God is, but it's a longer process. It's a lot more hurt. It's heavier. It's harder, but it is amazing at the end when he's birthing something for you. When he's birthing something, he's preparing your heart, he's preparing your mind, he's preparing your body for whatever it is he's doing in your life. So we have to be able to recognize whether or not we're bleeding or if God's birthing something. Because they are similar. They are similar, but very different. Just like a baby. They're similar, but very, very different. So you recognize the pain, you recognize the hurt, and then it's like, okay, Jesus, I'm deliberately, consciously seeking you, the bottom fringe. What is this? Is this going to be a birthing or is this just some bleeding? Where do I go with this? So tonight I want to ask you, are you bleeding today? Are we bleeding? Are we hurting? Are we in pain? Are we fatigued? Are we tired? Have we just had enough? Do we just need that deliberate, conscious touch of Jesus? Or are we getting ready to birth something? Is God doing something inside of us? Is God changing our hearts, shifting our minds, building our muscles, allowing us to carry a bigger burden? This woman, she was ashamed for a while. Very short amount of time though. She went under, she crawled at the bottom of the crowd, and she touched the fringe. But, how could, just a few seconds later, she's up, like, okay, Gaga, it's me. So I think that we have to be deliberate and recognize whether we're bleeding or whether we're birthing something. And be prepared, whichever way God's going to take it, as long as you're focused on Him, it's going to take you the right way.
That's right.
So tonight, if we could all bow our heads and meditate on God. Clearly find out, are we bleeding?